Okay, so I'm sure many of you out there, much like myself, have been told throughout our lives to just save and just put into your pension, look after the future now, and all those other phrases, and everything will be fine. So that's a very comforting sentence, and it's also half of the problem. So the truth is pretty blunt. The state pension alone will not cover a decent retirement for most people. And especially if you think in the next 20 years, there are going to be fewer and fewer actual property owners. So, unlike previous generations where people got to retirement, they may have paid their home off in their 40s, in their 50s, almost certainly by their 60s. So, their retirement income, their state pension was pin money. It was literally just utility bills, council tax, and then sunny days. That's no longer a thing. Right now in the UK, people, they're not getting onto the property ladder until very often into their 40s. And then you stick a 15, 20, 25-year mortgage on that, you'll be lucky to have it paid off by the time you hit state pension age. So the absolute truth is, and for many other reasons, that your state pension won't really give you any kind of decent retirement if you're in that situation. Private pots are often tiny, very often also they're fragmented because you leave jobs. You might have had, 5 different jobs in 10 years. Many people do. If each provider uses a different pension company to offer their pensions, then you've got 5 pensions, which means it's fragmented, and kind of chasing them up is often arduous and difficult. Very often, many people forget they've even got these pensions. So the pension companies benefit massively because there are funds in there that have been volunteered that will never be claimed. The UK's official analysis basically now shows that a very large majority of people are projected to have incomes far below the level that most experts call a comfortable retirement. And a lot of pension wealth is hidden across multiple tiny pots. And like I said, it just goes unclaimed, which means it doesn't really benefit anybody apart from the provider whose pot it sits in. So, what does this mean for you? Well, I mean, for a start, it means that you need to stop relying on a distant, often abstract number and start treating retirement as an actual living plan that you build here now. So step one is to basically try and find every pension pot you ever had. And I'm not being dramatic. It is boring admin, but at the end of the day, it's money that you've earned, that you've paid taxes on, or that taxes are being paid on, and it's sat there, and you won't benefit from it. So you need to chase those pots down, and you can start by contacting previous employers to do this. Find out who they used for their pension during your period of employment, and then go from there. Reuniting lost pots can easily add 5, 6, even £10,000 to your future. So if you're mid-career, you might look at prioritizing steady automatic saving over flashy schemes. Small, consistent contributions definitely beat gambling on a single big win investment. Slow and steady wins the race. But saving isn't the whole game. You need flexibility in how you'll harvest that money. You need to learn the difference between an annuity drawdown and phased withdrawals. And again, it's boring reading, but if you're going to have a decent shot at a decent future and be able to make your money work sensibly, you need to know these things. Because the wrong choice at 55 can lock you into bad deals for life. Just because you get the chance to pull 25% of your pot at 55 years old, it doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. If you don't need the money, if it's not going to earn you more money elsewhere, why touch it? What's the point? You're pulling it out of a pension and you're going to put it into a savings account that's giving you 1 or 2% a year. It's pointless. It makes no sense whatsoever. You need to really consider staggered access. Keep some money accessible, of course. You would be sensible to do that. You need to invest some, though, for growth, and you need to keep a slice of it as low risk for a predictable monthly income. If you run a small business, then treat it as part of your pension strategy. It's it's important. At the end of the day, it's your future. A sellable asset or a source of income that can bridge early retirement years could make the difference between a comfortable or a desperate retirement. The practical reality really is that inflation corrodes buying power. So if you plan retirement around a static figure that you saved 5 years ago, forget about it. You've already lost money. You're already behind. So you need to revisit your retirement plan really every year. You need to trim spending, and that that gives you an extra edge. It gives you an extra input into into your pension. It also means that you've got the capacity to invest those trimmings elsewhere. And in your future, that might give you a little bit more happiness because you've got a safety net, you've got a cushion. Redirect those trimmings, those savings into high impact areas, maybe secondary pensions, maybe ISAs, maybe a buy to let property, but only obviously if the math actually stacks up for you. And it's going to be different according to each individual. You need to finally remember that retirement is not only money, it's other things. It's also health, it's also community. And skills count for as much as cash. So invest in the relationships and the routines that will keep you occupied in retirement and, most importantly, keep you connected. When you stop full-time work, connection is important, and it's one of the main things that retirees complain about, and one of the main reasons that they eventually go back to work is that they lose connection with society. They feel discombobulated and cut off because they've spent their entire year working around people, perhaps, or working in a certain environment. But those things are important to consider as well as money. Money definitely buys choices. Money can buy you a life. Choices buy life, and you need to treat them as both part of the same plan. Whoever said that money doesn't buy you happiness, in my opinion, clearly never had any. I think absolutely money buys you freedom, it buys you opportunity, it buys you choice. Those things, by proxy, lead to happiness. You can choose whether to get up and go to work that day. You can choose whether you eat in or eat out. You can choose whether to stay in the UK or to take a holiday abroad. It buys you that freedom, and it also buys you opportunity. So let's not forget that. But what are your thoughts? What are your plans for retirement? How do you plan to beat the state pension? And I do say beat the state pension because I think by the time I get to retirement, I'll be lucky if there even is one. I know the retirement age is soon going up to 68, or the state pensionable age is going up to 68. So I'm 48. I've got another 20 years if I stay in PAYE, which I don't plan to. But I have got another 20 years to wait until I'm eligible for anything. And it also means that because the state pension age goes up to 68, that also the drawdown date moves from 55 to either 57 or 58. So you'll find that the age at which you can take a drawdown from your pension, if that's what you want, if it makes sense, that's going to move as well. So the goalposts are constantly moving away. But look, what are your thoughts on this? How do you plan to protect yourself? Is there a magic bullet that you've got that could help everybody else out? Drop it in the comments below. YouTube is going to stick another video somewhere up there. Like, follow, subscribe, ring the bell, all that jazz. And there'll be another video tomorrow. Goldman. Peace out.